Welcome to the show. So this is fun. I read about this couple, Linda and George Meyers. She was a teacher. He was a retired Air Force vet. And they decided to pick up and open up a cooking school in Tuscany. They actually, I guess, offer their clients and customers a range of fun travel experiences. And it's all because they took a leap of faith. They took a leap of faith. They're also high school sweethearts. So I felt like there was all kinds of inspiration from their story, their partnership together, how they jumped into the work of making work fun. And it's just a great little sprig of hope, a good reminder that there are people who can inspire us. They're all around us. They're doing great things. They are making fun in their lives. And it's a good note of happy fun. So here I am with Linda and George Meyers. Here's to Italy. Welcome, George and Linda Meyers. I am so excited to talk to the two of you for so many reasons. Welcome to the Tanya Acker Show.
Well, it's nice being here, Tanya.
It's very nice being here.
So I want to know your story. George, you are an Air Force veteran. Thank you for your service, sir. Linda, you were a teacher. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So how do you go from those incredible, worthwhile professions to opening a cooking school in Tuscany?
Well, you just, you're a little bit crazy and you just go, and I'm not that far off by telling you we just go.
We do.
We'll talk a lot more about it, but we are not people who sit around and go through the X's and think about stuff forever. Because we feel like you know the answer already most of the times. When I talk to you, people. So I don't think you really have to convince yourself that much.
It's about following your gut, knowing
it was, and it is about
follow your gut.
Yes.
It is about following that. And what happened really was our children were gone. We have 2 adult children, and we were living a wonderful life, but it became very routine. George was working really long hours in DC. I noticed that I was teaching kindergarten and I loved teaching, but I was getting there earlier in the morning and staying later in the afternoon. And it just became, we were living for like Saturdays. And then on Sunday, we were cutting the grass and hurrying up and getting ready for Monday. And one day we were just like, there's more to this. So let's just stop. And we did.
So, yes.
So there are some practical things, though, that you got to think about. So how did you do it? Like, were you big savers? Did you save a lot of money? Teaching the last time I heard.
First of all, we did not give up our, we didn't sell our cars and our houses and, or any of that kind of stuff. I think we were financially pretty stable. And we knew that George would have to continue working for a little while. He had retired from the Air Force and he was working in his own company. So he kind of started handing things over to some of his employees. So we were still having an income, and we have George's retirement. I just quit. I walked, I said, I'm done. I need to change.
Well, we pay teachers so much, and I know with that lush pension, my goodness.
Well, but Linda had taught for 25 years, and I had been over 20 years in the Air Force as a pilot and doing other stuff. And so we were, to give you an idea how we operate, when I left I retired and I had another great job in DC working for a company, but I always had this dream of working on my own. And I said, Linda, I think I'm gonna go out on my own and do this. And I said, what do you think? She goes, well, what's the worst that can happen? I go, well, we may lose the house. And Linda says, well, I'm not that close to the house. So, okay.
I'm not that attached to it. Let's go.
Said, okay, then we'll go. So that's kind of
our when was that? There. When did you when did you start this? When did you start the process?
Almost 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago. And It was just one of those things. We really
first tell us about it. Cook in Tuscany.
Yeah, Cook
People
in Tuscany
sign up.
was the beginning.
Tell us about that.
It's a fabulous week that we have planned. You know, we have lived in 13 different places with the Air Force. We have truly perfected the art of finding the best places to eat, finding the best off the tourist path places, because our families and friends would come visit us in all these places. And we just, boom, we knew how to do it.
Yeah, if you came to San Francisco, one day I could take you everywhere, the best restaurants, and don't look at the menu because I'm going to order for you. It is what you have here. Yeah. We can do the same thing in DC. In fact, in DC, we can take you to hit all the major points in the museums and still have time to go eat.
You guys just sound like you do fun. Your business.
We do. We love having fun. Yes. We like dancing in the kitchen. You know, we've always really believed, we're both from New Orleans. We believe that there's always room at the table, and food connects people no matter what culture or what country you're from. There's a connection when you sit at the table.
That is so true. It's just the truth.
Everybody's on an even playing field. It's just wonderful.
You know, I always tell people, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you please, go ahead.
I was going to say, I always tell people that you go to the Grand Canyon, but you don't talk about the Grand Canyon. You talk about that restaurant you ate. That fabulous meal outside near the Grand Canyon. Nobody really talks about the things they've seen, but you know, if you notice when you come back, you go, remember that night we're at that great restaurant or we're eating at that place for lunch? And that's truly what unites us. And that's why our whole theme about food came through for this. And that's why we did Cook in Tuscany. Now we've had Cook in Cuba, Cook in Mexico, Cook in France. But this is our main thing here. But we also have the hotel and restaurant here too. So
you're in Tuscany right now. You've had this business for the last 10 years. People can sign up. They have these, go to the fun, which is where you are. Tuscany, Cuba, you name it. You listed a number of your locales. So people sign up. You take them on these experiences. They learn to cook with the locals. They learn to shop and live with the locals. You're doing this, going great. The pandemic hits. So and you're in Tuscany now. You've been in Tuscany.
We are in Tuscany now. And you know,
so what happens to you when folks stop traveling and going around the world and having fun?
Well, first of all, you know, it was really always important to us that people felt like they were visiting us. They weren't going on a tour. We want people to come in and come into the kitchen. We live here on the property. People come in our home. We wanted that to be a very, like you're visiting friends. So last year, when this started, actually the beginning was really sad because we missed our guests. You know, we missed that Sunday afternoon when the bus was showing up and we were excited. So that was kind of depressing, but it wasn't because of, well, you know, nobody wants anybody sick, but it was sad for us because people weren't here to share in all the fun, like the sunflowers growing and the lavender growing and the vegetables.
Yeah. Our olive trees and everything else.
You know, so that was sad, but it was also a financial hit, of course. But we were fortunate that the hotel could open and Europeans were traveling. So that really kept things going. Now we're fortunate because things are opening up again and we look like we're going to have a really good year.
Yes, it looks like it'll be a little bit later, but it looks like it's going to be okay.
And so tell us about what people expect. So, because by the way, I have to tell you, I am dying to use my passport. I feel like it's gathering cobwebs. Like this lockdown is really, I'm ready for a trip. So,
well, I can tell you
what are we going to get? I'm going to come. I'm going to sign up as soon as I can. I'm coming to Tuscany. What are we going to do?
You know, and so you can come. So you can do Cook in Tuscany for a week. But we also, you know, we have our hotel and restaurant, which is 18 rooms and the restaurant and all that stuff.
That way I don't have to do anything. I can just.
So you can come. Well, no, you can just sit at the pool and you can drink wine and you can, you know, eat and hang out.
All of that.
The Olive Grove and all that stuff. But as I tell people, it's really not a cooking school. It's a cooking occasion. It's a week built around food because we're from New Orleans and like we talked about, everything really is about food. So. And we tell people you can be as serious as you want. You can debone chickens, or you can hang out in the back of the class and drink wine and make fun of people with me. So we have the whole gamut, whatever you want to do.
What really happens is people arrive here on Sunday, and we're really excited. We start that first night with a big gourmet meal and wine, and we're out on our terrace overlooking the valley. And then every morning we wake up and we cook with a different nonna. We go to different places to cook, or we cook here at the hotel. We make anywhere from 4 to 7 courses for lunch, and we have a long 2-hour lunch. We give everybody a little time to rest after they've made this fabulous meal. And then we go out in the afternoon and we go to wineries or villages or some of the things that we really love, like the best leather maker and the best pasta maker and, all those fun things. And then at night, we have to stop again and have another 7 or 8 course meal with wine. Right. That's just a necessity.
You have to. I heard it's in the rule. You have to do that, of course.
Well, and it's interesting, right? Because if you came to New Orleans, in fact, the best restaurant in New Orleans you would never go to because he just got indoor dining. Before he had 3 metal chairs and tables outside. When I tell you the best food in New Orleans, it's the best food. So just like that, the best food is not all these tourist places. So we're going to take you to where our friends have restaurants and where we do things, and you're going to get the real authentic food. In fact, one night we do a 7-course meal in the vineyard. And it's the same. His great-great-grandfather sold wine to Napoleon. So you get a history's kind of big there.
What makes us unique, though, is we're bringing you to our friends. And we're very passionate about what we do. We're life changers. We changed midstream and went off to a different direction. And the majority of the people we work with are the same. We have people who own a restaurant here in our little village. She used to be a florist and he was a truck driver. Now they own a beautiful restaurant. We cook with them. We eat with them. So you meet these people, and a byproduct that we never expected from doing Cook in Tuscany is people leave realizing they can really live their passion.
Let's talk about that. But I want to focus on that point, living your passion, because so many people, people get into a rut at any income level. Sometimes it's the golden handcuffs. Sometimes for other people, it's, I can't afford to pay my bills. So how am I going to follow a dream? What's your advice to people? How do they take the first step in trying to live their passion?
So it's interesting that you bring it up because we actually talk on that. In fact, we at the travel show in New York, which is one of the biggest, we actually speak there every year about how to turn your dreams and your passion into a business. So we do. We try to tell people you can do it because everyone can do it. You don't have to. It's not running off and under the Tuscan sun and jumping on a bus and do it. But there are ways that you can do it, no matter where you are in life.
And my big statement, and the first thing I always ask people is, what are you doing about it? So you can have a passion and you can want to do something, but if you're just dreaming it, it's not going to turn into anything. So what are you doing? Right. Are you joining local clubs? Are you going to meetups? Are you just spending some time in a bakery, owning a bakery and baking? 2 different stories.
Right. Yeah. And
what was the first step that the 2 of you took in order to follow this passion? The first thing that you did?
Well, Linda actually, she quit her job. We had talked about it. She stopped her job and came and lived here in the winter.
I did.
And Tuscany in the winter is much like, we lived in the Bay Area. It's much like that, misty, cold, just, drab. So she came here and she stayed in the village, and we have 450 people in the village. So it's small.
I figured out some things. I worked on it. We had this great idea. We kind of knew what we wanted, but we needed to make sure. So that's what I did. I came by myself. I stayed here for about 4 months, kind of got to know things, figure out our pattern of what we could do. And then George and our daughter Whitney came over. And the next step was we rented a very small little house, and we started just kind of slow. And then all of a sudden, it went from, 15 people to 350 people.
Wow.
But it happened that way because I think people really did see that George and I were authentic. We were living this life of passion. And the first year we thought we had to get dressed up and we had to look like this and do this. And then all of a sudden we realized, we got to be who we are. George wears shorts if it's 19 below. So he went back to his regular self and I went back. And that's when it really became big, when we started really just being us.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you something else, because I also have been advised that the 2 of you are high school sweethearts.
Yeah,
high school sweethearts, like straight through. Did you take detours with other people?
I was 16.
You've been together since high school.
The football player married the cheerleader. There
Oh
you go.
my.
And he was 17.
Yes.
What the what? I mean,
I know.
what a beautiful story. So give us
Yes.
all
So I
the
follow my wife
advice.
everywhere. So
And
people
you do
say,
what
why are
she
you here?
says.
Exactly.
Well, it was one of those things where we were very fortunate to find each other very young in life, and we have a beautiful family. George lived out his dream of being an Air Force pilot, and I was 100% supportive and followed him anywhere that we needed to go. And when it came time for us to change a little bit, when we were getting in that rut, we went to our two children, and I said, what do you think? And both of them and George agreed, hey, it's your turn.
Right.
Go for it.
And both our kids were like, you guys need to go. Y'all need to do this. Y'all have been there for us. Go do it.
Go. So George followed me. Come on.
So first you, George, you first. What's your favorite thing about Linda?
Aw.
Her strength. She's probably the strongest person I know, physically, mentally, everything, emotionally. I will never be as evolved as my wife is. I mean, I'm a caveman, and she's like up on the mountaintop.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, she really is. I mean, it just amazes me how she's here. And one of my biggest things I'm telling myself this year is I'm going to be, yes, we're partners, but I want to be more of the number two and holding up the Dalai Lama, Linda. That's what I want to do more.
He's being silly.
Yes,
Linda, the Dalai Lama. What's your favorite thing about George?
Probably his heart. He really does have a beautiful heart. He comes across as being funny, and he loves to have a good time, and he's joking and stuff. But deep down, I know that I'm number one, and that he just loves me no matter what.
I love you guys. I love romance.
You're going to make me cry.
I love. So
He does.
the two of you have so much joy. I mean, you really radiate joy and happiness. And I think that we really need a lot more of that, especially now, people have been down. So
they are down. And
it's a low, we're not with our friends. We're not having dinners with our family and friends.
Listen,
we're not going to the restaurants. It's been sad for a lot of folks.
Yes. And it's interesting because last year, Linda started positive, what do you call it?
Oh, yeah. Fearless Positive Passion. Because I just felt like people needed to have some positive things in their life. So I just started a little Facebook group. We post positive things about what's going on. We give
what's your group? Fearless Positive Passion.
Uh-huh.
We're going to put that up.
Yeah. We just really, but we are extremely happy in our life, and we're very blessed. But there's ups and downs in everybody's life. The ups and downs are okay as long as when you get to the down, you've put enough in your bank that somebody can help carry you. Like, if George is having a problem, I know he's been there for me for, the last year. And so it's a play off of each other, and it keeps people going in a positive direction.
Yeah. I've always looked at, I always tell them bank accounts. You can't go to your bank account and take out money if you haven't put any in there. So it comes with your job, with your relationship, with your kids, with everything. So you kind of got to go look. In fact, my son will even say it with his wife. Will go, yeah, his wife's Lizzie. He'll say, yes, the Lizzie account's kind of low. I need to put some money into it. So this weekend, that's what we're doing. And that's but you have to.
What's your advice for people right now who are alone? Because, I look at the two of you and you have each other, you radiate this joy. When someone's down, the other person can put some joy in the bank. I spoke a few weeks ago with a therapist who talked about a lot of people are really sad. There's a lot of suffering. And I feel like it's incumbent on all of us to come up with ways to help support the rest of us, even if we don't know each other. So,
absolutely.
What's your advice? Like, what's something that you would offer people who might be at home alone, kind of struggling with solitude right now?
I think some of the things that I have noticed is I was not really a big Facebook person. I did it for business. I started about 5, 6, 7 years ago. But I started using my personal page to reach out to people, especially people that we either knew and I even put out things and said, hey, if you know somebody who needs a little encouragement or something, join us. Let's just do something together. And I think Zoom is great, but I think when you're in front of a computer all day, or if you're in a screen, I always encourage the people that, follow me and stuff, is you have to get out. I know it's a pandemic. I know it's a lockdown, but that doesn't mean you can't walk in your backyard or get out and get some fresh air. Stay away from the TV. You've got to connect with people. Mm-hmm. If you have a neighbor, scream across the street. That's better than sitting at home by yourself.
Yeah.
And here in the village, I even know people, because, we have a lot of older, like 100 and over people here in our village. Mm. And I watch them. They sit on the opposite sides of fences and they're drinking coffee, but they're talking over the fence.
Yes.
So that social aspect is so important to keep your spirits up, to keep your attitude up. Right. And, get out there and do some new things. Try to cook, make pasta. Who cares if you mess it up? Make a pie. Who cares?
Yeah.
Ceramics, paint.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, I always tell people, whatever way you feel or think, you're going to find something out there, if you're on a computer or on the internet, to support you.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad. Just come up with your own way of doing things, your own way you're going to think, and go. Mm-hmm. And, make your own path. In fact, we're talking about passion. I always tell people, well, and it's the same way, because even during the pandemic, you could follow your passion. You could, if you want to be, and I always tell people, make sure it's a passion and not a hobby. That's two different, the same, right?
Wow, good point.
Right? Good point. So, but if it's your passion to be a writer, then why aren't you hanging out in some writing groups? Why don't you find somebody who writes books and start being friends with them and talking to them and doing things? Mm-hmm. There's so many things that we can do that do not require money.
No money.
That you can do to further yourself and your passion, and to learn about your passion, to see if it really is.
Learn and study it, like get into it. And then you learn more, you become more passionate about it. You've got something to devote your time and energy to. Let's go back to food for a second.
Sure.
That's one of my favorite things. Let's go back to food. What is your go-to dish? Like right now, if you were just like, I want to whip up X because it always tastes good.
I'm going to tell you, over this pandemic, George has become a master bread maker. I mean, he has just become unbelievable breads. I mean, just artisan, delicious bread. So I would say he could go, we call it the love bread, because I had it in a beautiful 3-star Michelin restaurant about a year ago. And I just thought about it all the time. And I kept saying, boy, I wish I could get that bread. And he researched and started making it, and he has mastered it. So that's what I would want, is that bread.
It's a sweet bread, right? And I love oatmeal cookies, so I figured out my own recipe for that and different things like that. But like making pasta for us is so easy.
We can make pasta like in our sleep.
Yes, rolling pasta. And you could do it very easy too. It's that easy to make.
Okay.
In fact,
I don't know that I would be a pasta maker, but I have some prepared pasta. So let's just say that I'm not at your level of cooking. Let's say talk to the folks who've got pasta in the pantry. But with pasta, you can do anything.
You can do anything with a box of pasta.
There's nothing that you can't do with a box of pasta.
And I think the best thing that we have learned over the last 10 years is to keep it simple, because Tuscan food is really the food from the poor kitchen. It's not all this gourmet stuff and pretty flowers. It's really good, hearty, healthy, fresh food. So tomatoes, garlic, basil, olive oil, and you pour it over the pasta. And I'm telling you, it's delicious.
Yeah, it's really all about tasting your food. There's not 20 ingredients in it. And the other thing I'd say, though, it's like we started doing, we made pizzas on the barbecue pit.
Yeah.
Which was we just made your dough, put it on a barbecue pit, and we had all the fixings, and everybody put all their stuff on. The point of it, that whole gathering, is not about eating pizza. It's that we're all together and we're making our own pizzas and connecting and doing stuff. So having pasta at your house, for us, making pasta is the event.
Yeah.
Eating it's kind of like, okay, that's fun. But
But
it's
you
just
can,
the event, right?
but you can
Coming together.
change it and just have a big bowl of pasta and have 2 or 3 different sauces that people can put fresh things, or they can put, white sauce or tomato sauce or store bought. If you don't think you're a great cook, it's okay to buy some things. It's okay to support local restaurants and order 2 or 3 things and put them out and have people pick and do a taste test or something fun.
I think
You've given us. Oh, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think in America, and I would say a lot of, I'd say us, I say quotations, just developed, future societies, right? Or, that we are so far evolved that we forget that eating is about coming together and sharing it with people. It's an event. It's not something you just hurry up and do in 5 minutes or 10 minutes and run away. It's in Italy, we say we eat because we want to, not because we have to. We drink wine because we want to. It's what we do. We enjoy it. So it's not just, drinking espresso.
It's never on the
time.
go. Yeah. It's never on the go. It's always event. A slow down, stop, and enjoy your meal.
Yes.
But you're enjoying the company of the people you're with.
Don't you think that maybe one good thing from this pandemic, not that you need, I'm not one of these folks who thinks that you need tragedy in order to create good things, but this has been a not good period for a lot of people. But one thing for me personally that I think has come out of it that will continue is it's forced me to slow down a little bit. It's forced me to think more consciously about meals. Like I consider myself like a foodie, whatever that term means to people. But I really like food. I'm a decent cook. I'm a pretty good orderer of food. But during the pandemic, it really just it forced us to slow down. My husband and I, something that we don't typically do is we would sit down, especially since we're working at home, and have lunch. We sat down, and as you said, in America, we're lunch on the go, folks. I grew up professionally in law firms. We grabbed our lunch on the go. We ate at our desks. That's very much the culture. But I think that now we are slowing down. My friends are posting pictures of the bread that they and their children are making.
Yeah.
So maybe that this signifies some sort of shift, to maybe our being more deliberate than we've been before.
I think it also created an opportunity for everyone to go back a little. I know myself, I started making things, and I was here for the whole pandemic, but I started making things that my mother used to make, and I went back to old recipes and thought, I remember when she made, and it became like a comfort thing, but it also just brought everybody back to the table. So now I noticed, at home, when we were back in the States for, Christmas and so forth, my daughter and her children and stuff would say, can you make JoJo, what they used to call my mother? Can you make that cake again? So it kind of connected us back to our past, and it brought us comfort. And I think we'll stick with that. I think people will start doing more dinner parties, and people will start not always thinking of, let's just go out when we have friends. Let's cook and make it something at home and do a dinner party here.
And I hope that we know, we take away that it's not the food, it's the entire event.
Right.
The food is part of this entire event of all of us coming together.
It's the experience. It's the preparation. It's the smelling of it. It's the talking about it.
And and it's funny because when you're here with us and we're cooking in the cooking school, the funnest part is in that kitchen cooking,
it is.
Dancing, and I have music going, and we're drinking wine, we're goofing off. The lunch or the dinners, it's wonderful, but we had so much fun cooking. That's what we did for 2 or 3 hours. It was just an event. That was all part of it.
And we always, so our daughter works with us full time too. And she and I are always in a cooking class with you, one of us. And the one thing that we always say during the class is we give people ideas of how to recreate this atmosphere at their home so that they can bring people into their houses and do these things. So, a lot of times people say, oh, I don't know if I could have, 10 people. Yes, you can. Let me show you. And we give them ideas on how to simplify things when they tell us, well, I only have one counter. Okay, let's bring 2 people up. And so we try to encourage people to gather when they get back home, because that sparks your passion in life. That sparks positive behavior when you have people that you can connect with.
Yes, it does. Cook in Tuscany. So before we go, tell us where we can find you, where we can go to join the party. I am going to join this party as soon as I possibly can.
Tanya, we're ready for you.
I'm coming. So Cook in Tuscany. And the hotel is what?
So the hotel is Chiusa, CHIUSA. Which
we'll put that up.
And that goes down to goes back to the 300s, so we're kind of old. And then we're at Cook in Tuscany, COOKIN Tuscany.com. So
put that up. Cook in Tuscany, Linda and George Meyers, high school sweethearts, planners of fun, experts in love. You two are wonderful. Thank you for being
very much.
here. And I cannot wait. I'm going to try to do both things. I'm going to do a little bit of the actual cooking, and then I'm also going to do the wine drinking and laughing.
Okay, yeah. We're going to
We have a really good friend who makes good wine, so you're in.
Yes. Did I mention that? Yes, we drink a little bit of wine here, just a little bit, yes.
Just a smidge.
A little bit, yes.
Just a smidge.
32 different types a week, yes. So, yes.
I love you guys. You be safe.
Thank you,
well.
Tanya.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.